And good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the latest episode of Can You Relate Live. I'm Jim Fuse, the affiliate manager at Relatable, here with Peter Lasowski, the founder, and Mary Catherine Johnson, aka MKJ, who is our partner program manager and also, I would say, chief marketing officer. So welcome, everyone. And how are you guys doing today?
Woohoo! Let's rock and roll. It's Friday. It's a gorgeous day, right? Good day to talk about relatability.
My one answer is woof. That's actually in our podcast show, Jim. You don't know that, but I would say I'm the dog at your door.
Because all right.
He just keeps showing up.
Down. What?
He just keeps showing up.
Bodies keep showing up.
That's right.
For all you guys that are in business, you all know that the truth is 80% of your success is just show up. You know? That's what we do.
So Peter, tell us what's going on with the latest with Relatable.
Well, I just wanted to. We're going to get into a lot of stuff that you can use Relatable for in customer conversion, creating fans, and word of mouth. We'll get into that, and I'll bring up some different things that we're adding or have added to Relatable, and I'll give you guys, if you stick around till the end, there's a couple things I'll share that we're working in our mad scientist labs on that I think you're going to find pretty cool, and ask you what you guys think about it too as well. What I wanted to do, Jim, really is talk it today at 1,000 foot, because here's the thing. Over the last couple of weeks between this live and our last live, all three of us, we've been talking. And I've also been talking, as you guys do, to a lot of different CEOs and founders out there, just to kind of get their feedback on things, talk about, the Relatable, what it can be used for, kind of watch their eyes get big. And you guys have all had that reaction too. But this actually came from Mary. And so kudos to Mary because Mary's great on languaging. I had always been saying, the thing about Relatable is it's a choose your own adventure. And it is. It is a choose your own adventure. But really what we're doing here, and this is the distinction I want to make with you guys, is if you look out there in the world, and I've talked about this before, right? We talked about the definition of lead gen, the definition of demand gen. I'm not going to go through that again today. If you want to learn all about that, go back to our previous shows. It's on our YouTube channel, and Jim will share that with you. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about, everybody's watching or listening, right? So this is why video is king, and I think podcasting is queen. Podcasting has its place because it's anytime, anywhere. And when you're running, driving your car, things where you can't really look at a video and it's not safe, podcasting is a good format. I think it's going to be around just because of that. But if you want to develop relationships, you have to kind of move over. True relationships, like what we're doing here, right? You can see all three of us. You can hear us talking. You can see me waving my hands and saying woof and all that kind of crazy stuff. But video really is the best format media. But here's the thing. And I've talked about this in my post, and Mary actually gave us a great idea on like, how do you think about this? And it makes total sense to me. So all you guys out there that are doing video so just a quick history lesson, 2005, YouTube came out and it kind of hit the world by storm, and it grew fanatically. And then Google acquired it, right? For whatever billions of dollars. And then in 2017, that's when TikTok came out and LinkedIn video came on the scene. So that was only 7 years ago. But here's where the issue is. This is all passive video, okay? So what's really the way Mary coined it, and I love it, is if you're going to be in the relationship economy and you're going to create demand, you also have to create relationships. Now think about how we do that as humans, right? So if you look at, and as it relates to video, if you look at passive video is a monologue. In other words, just like right now, I'm talking at you guys. There's no interaction. I mean, we're going to ask you questions and things, but really it's not terrible, but it's not the best form for developing relationships because it's a monologue. We all talk at you. And I don't know, you guys, if you're in a relationship, if you've ever been in a fight with your spouse and they're talking at you, sometimes it doesn't feel very good, right? So there's a big distinction between that passive video and yeah, it builds familiarity, but it can't really truly, people say, oh, it builds a relationship. I don't agree. And all you guys, if you're out there watching this, if you disagree, make your voice known in the comments. We could have a discussion about this. So the other side, which I think is brilliant, what Mary brought up is really, if you want to develop relationships in a relationship economy, you have to have a dialogue. Okay. So that's what really Relatable is all about, is through engagement, through interaction, through nurturing and providing other video content, which is also interactive, you are one step closer to creating that dialogue, which is a two-way. Monologue is one way. I talk at you. Dialogue is I interact and engage with you. Okay. Now, the best form, as you guys know, a dialogue is if I could sit down with each of you and have a cup of coffee and just talk one-to-one. But as we all know, the downside of that is I can't scale that. I'd have to fly all over the world to have cups of coffee with each of you guys. It'd be expensive, time consuming, and it's not really scalable. So that's why we said, hey, if we're going to support the relationship economy, which is where everybody's at, because guys, I did a post on that. If you look in the mirror and you ask yourself, how do I buy? If the answer is I go online and I do research, well, guess what? Don't you think your customers and clients are doing that too? But while they're doing that, while you're creating awareness and they're going through consideration, it's imperative, it's critical that you create this dialogue with them so that it's not just familiarity like a monologue passive video. It is a interactive, engaging dialogue. Part of that is I've changed my language now from choose your own adventure to Relatable allows you to choose your own experience, because that's really what it's all about. When we are going online and we are researching things, we all have a different priority set in mind. Every one of us. Even if you guys were to come in and look at Relatable at our demo and look at our website, you would have a different priority. Some people like to go right to price. Some people like to go, well, how is this different than what I'm doing with video already? And what's the differentiation, right? Some people want to go, well, what are some of the features in there? What can I use this for? And we're going to talk about some of those today. But really, guys, the key thing here, the takeaway, we're going to give you some use cases and experiences on how you can use Relatable to create these experiences in your business. But the overarching theme is, if you really want to do this right in the relationship economy, you got to move away from creating a monologue to creating a dialogue.
Yeah, and Peter, LinkedIn / StreamYard's not sharing everyone's comments into our dashboard to share to the screen. But Marissa Callie, which is a good friend of mine, so great to see you, Marissa, wanted you to go back over what was the king and the queen again. Could you repeat that part of your phrase?
The king and the queen. Let me remember what I said here. I was speaking off the top of my head. I think,
video was king and podcasting was queen.
Queen, yes. Because here's the thing. What was her name again, Jim?
Marissa Callie.
Marissa, nice to have you on here. Marissa, the king and the queen is because, look, this goes back to the fundamental shift that has happened. It's not well, it's happening, but it's already happened. And that is, we have all of us guys, and you can call us what you want, elderly or whatever, but all the native analogs. We were there before the internet. We were there before cell phones. We grew up watching TV and listening to radio, and we went, hey, let's take the ads, and we're going to plop them right down on the internet. And this is, guys, here's the thing. If you go out to YouTube, if you go out to TikTok, if you do LinkedIn Live, you are a passive video viewer. You are a set of eyeballs and an IP address to do what? to stay on a social site or to get ads in front of your face. Let's be honest about this. That's the model they created. So now we have this new group of people called native digitals. They're 35 and younger, although it's not an ageism thing, because all of us guys, we see ourselves as native digitals. Native digitals reject a lot of the things that the native analogs created, like email marketing, funnels, cold calling, all this stuff that you guys probably hate to do too, that really are crumbling and don't work. Native digitals are about interaction and community. This is why, guys, you're seeing communities pop up like weeds on the internet. They're all over the place. Now, you got to do your community right. But the thing is, the other thing about native digitals is they're 51% of the global population, and they're growing. They're the majority of what's on this earth now. So you can't, and they're driving this. So, and not only that, guys, but the reason why I bring that up is native digitals are all about watching or listening. In fact, they invented that acronym. You guys have heard it probably, TLDR, too long, didn't read, right? So, and this is why I said before in a previous show, if you look at the growth rate, video over the last 5 years, year over year, has grown 150%. Blogs have grown 17%. Now, I'm not saying don't do blogs. I'm just saying, look, if you want to go where it's at, where you can fit and develop relationships in the relationship economy, and where you can create demand in a predictable stream of customers or clients, the best form is video. That's why video is king. Podcasting is queen. Podcasting has its place, like I said. There's nothing wrong with podcasting. And guys, you should be omni-channel. We are too. Look, we're doing passive video here. We also have a YouTube channel. So I'm not saying don't do that things, but I'm saying if you want to really get down in the belly of the beast and you want to develop relationships with people, you got to have this dialogue, and it has to be on video.
Yeah. So Peter, still at kind of like the 30,000 foot level as we're moving down. What are some of the things that are coming up that are, I know that we're excited about with Relatable that are starting to roll out, and I know we're going to have a demo from Mary in a little bit.
Yeah, well, in our world, and what makes, if you think about it, guys, if you could go back to 2007 when Steve Jobs held up the phone and said, this is a new category of communication, new category of phone, right? He was kind of, we have this play bigger category design, but he was kind of the forefather of all that before Christopher Lockett and everybody. So the thing is, if you look, and I was, in fact, I think Mary, you and I were talking about this. I don't even know if you guys, it's probably in the Smithsonian now, but I remember back in the days when I was a young engineer and I first started, I was given a VT100 terminal, and it was a green screen, and you had to know Unix. And my boss came by with a book that was about this thick, plopped it down on my engineering desk and said, hey, learn this. And I was like, wow, you had to do like 60 commands just to write an email. So that's where we were. And then these putty boxes came out. I was Mary, because Mary met the lady who worked on I think it was a PR campaign, wasn't it, Mary?
Yeah, it was Andy Cunningham, and she worked for the PR firm that was hired by Apple to help promote the Apple II. And then later she was hired directly by Steve Jobs and her agency to help promote the Macintosh.
Yeah, which I call them putty boxes. So the thing is that I will never forget the day we put in a capital equipment request. If you guys worked at corporations, you know what that is. And we got these Macintoshes. They were the putty boxes, the little screen. We all put them on our desk. We had our lab bench behind us. I plugged that thing in, and I went like that. It was like, wow, because there were folders, there were icons. You could actually write an email without having to know all kinds of code, right? So the reason why I'm bringing that up is fast forward to today. If you look at any good product, mostly software, but I've done hardware products too. You have to have three components, and my team all knows this. Number one, it's got to be intuitive. It's got to be self-explanatory, right? So whatever you're doing, it has to help a person play and get it just through playing. Okay, so we're learning from all of you as we go through and we iterate and improve. And I'm going to talk about some of those things that we're doing that Jim asked me about. The second thing is whatever you are using a hardware tool for or a software tool, it's got to get you from point A to point B as fast as possible, right? Because if you have to sit there, I mean, look, there's some software out there, I won't name names, but it's so damn tech heavy, you're going, man, I got to put some investment and time in this. And a lot of people are going, I don't want to do that, right? So I always say, look, if I'm going to create something, I want to get people from point A to point B as quickly as possible. Look, we had a product called OpenList, and we could revive it and bring it back. Mary knows because she was with us. OpenList was tech heavy, and it took a lot of learning, and that's part of the reason why it didn't catch on. So in our world, in iProlio, it's win or learn, right? So we learned our lesson on that one. So that's the second thing. The third thing is it's got to be sticky. Okay. So what this means is that tool, that software tool, that hardware tool has to have the exact match functionality to how people need to solve their problems. Okay. So with those three things in mind, intuitive, A to B, and stickiness, we have added some different things. Number one, intuitive. If you go into our platform now, we're updating it. So it has just really quick, it asks you some questions. It takes you into the place where you upload the videos. It asks you a couple questions. You put in your title, takes you to the builder. It has some little bubbles that say, okay, just this is what this is, this is what this is, this is what this is. Just so when you're going through it the first time, you go, I get it. All right, now I'm going to build, right? And so you can get through the process of getting your script done. If you want to use artificial intelligence, we have that in there. Doing a manual script, talking off the top of your head, turning on the teleprompter, recording it, taking it to what we call video and styles, uploading it to YouTube, bringing it into the builder, plopping in your interactives, and you're done. And then you can share it on socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, Reddit, X, wherever you want to do. You can copy the link. You can have a QR code. If you're a book author or a speaker, you can put that up on stage. They can enter your relatable world, right? So that's one. Second thing is, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. We know, and you guys do too, once I explain this, that word of mouth and referrals is, look, again, the king of this is people do business with people they like, know, and trust. The queen is word of mouth referral sharing. I don't care how much AI, how much tech, how much everything exists out there in the world. We are still a bunch of human beings, and we are still going to, if we come across a great product, we're going to want to share it with friends and colleagues, especially if it solves things. Because think about it, right? If you're a business owner, probably hang out with other business owners, and they probably need the same kind of solution. So we built in what we call viral share, but it's basically word of mouth sharing. And the reason why we did that is because studies are showing up to 80% of all product and service recommendations now are being done through private messaging. That's your text, that's your email, that's your WhatsApp, that's your Discord, wherever it is, people are, or social sites, people are privately sharing and endorsing products and services. And so the question I have for you is, would you want to be part of that and be able to do that inside of a platform? Probably the answer is yes. And you can do that inside Relatable. So that's one thing we just added, that you can do that kind of thing. And the cool thing about it is, we'll probably give a demo of this sometime, but let's say you have a string of videos and you go, I want the people I'm going to send this to text. So I'm going to do a text share. It's going to go right in your phone contacts. You choose who you want to share it with. It has the link. You write your text and boom, it goes out the door. But here's the thing. If you created a 4-video series, you don't want the person to see the 4th video and not see the other 3, because they're going to go, what the hell did this person says to me? It makes no sense. So we built it so if you're building that, you can take the people you're sharing it with back to the first video so they can experience the entire dialogue that you did, right? And so they can experience what you just saw, which you felt was great content. So that's word of mouth sharing, or we call viral share. Another thing that's coming, we're still working on it, but you guys as businesses, first of all, and I've said this before, everybody, I don't care who you are. If you're a solopreneur to a Fortune 500 corporate CEO, you got to be on video. HubSpot did a study, 70% of all consumers don't care as much about brand or company as they care about seeing direct video interaction. But here's the thing, be careful, because we don't want to create monologue videos and talk at them. We want to create dialogue videos and interact with my customers or clients, right? But what we want to do, remember, A to B and stickiness, right? So imagine, I'll give you a couple of use cases. Imagine you're a dentist, okay? Or any health, you could be a coach, you could be a course creator, you could be a SaaS founder, you could be a fractional, you can be in professional services, you could be in the trades, doesn't matter. But let's say we'll take a dentist. So you have your patients, right? You can, as the dentist, let's say her name is Janice. Janice needs to be in the videos. She's got to, come on, be authentic, be grateful, thank the patients for being with her. Because, think about it, right? If we look in the world, I don't care, LinkedIn, out in the physical world, there's hundreds of thousands of dentists. There's hundreds of thousands of SaaS founders. There's hundreds of thousands of coaches, course creators, fractionals, right? So you better have a dialogue, and you better be personal and relevant to these people, right? And build that trust and relationship. So in this world of this set reminders, is the dentist needs to bring the patient in, and typically every 6 months, right? You go to a dentist, get your teeth cleaned. So would it be nice to have a series of videos that Janice just sets up once? She sets for everybody that opts in, that's her patient. Every 6 months, it automatically sends them a video of Janice thanking them for being a patient, saying, hey, it's time to come in for your teeth cleaning. They make it really easy. You'll see right here on the screen, we call them popovers. You can call us, text us, or set an appointment, right? Think about what you could do with your business. Now, the other type, I always say the trades, because this is a great example. You guys all live in homes somewhere in the world, probably most of you in the United States. You got furnaces, right? You got to heat in the winter, and you got AC. You got to cool in the spring and summer, right? So this is where you can set reminders, and you can do it by calendar. So if I was an HVAC owner, we'll say the guy's name is Jack. Jack is going to want to pull up the calendar and just tap with his finger. Okay, I want to send out a furnace service reminder on September 28th, which is coming up here, by the way. And I want to do an AC cleaning, an AC service tune-up on March 15th, right? So, and then Jack does his videos. He said, hey, I know you're part of our, A+ HVAC service. I really want to thank you for being a customer of ours. It's getting that time in the fall now where it's time to, take a look at your furnace and get it serviced. Because if it's in the wintertime, we're backed up, and you don't want to be without heat, especially if you get that cold wave that hits you. You want to make sure that thing's functioning. And typically, if you wait for an emergency, it's going to be a lot more costly, right? So it's a good time to do it now. So he sets it up September 28th. He pushes the little button on the calendar, comes up. He puts that on there. He chooses that video, and boom, it runs in the background automatically. Same thing for the AC thing. So think about your world and how you could do event-based or ongoing opt-in based, right? That's the two that we have. That's the set and forget reminders. And think about what that could do for your business. And the other thing too is, well, yes, it's power. I'm going to talk about here in this one later on when Jim asked me about it, about how I use relatables in the personal DMs. I'm getting one hell of a response, and I'll share with you exactly how I do it. But there's that component too in your business where you just want to set these things up. They don't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be tech heavy. In fact, those videos, you could get your founder, or the founder could do it themselves if they're a smaller company. In one afternoon, they could set the whole dang thing up. Then it's done for good, as long as you own that business, right? So that's another thing that's coming up. Jim, is there anything else you want me to share that?
I think that's good. I think you ready to move into what Mary has to share with us?
Yeah, I'm done yakking.
All right. All right. So I'm going to bring your video up here, Mary, and we'll let you get going here.
Yeah, hold on a sec. Put that on pause and start it back over so I can set it up real quick. All right, so what we're going to do, let me just tell you why I'm doing this and what you're going to see. So Peter talked about monologues versus dialogues. He talked about passive video versus interactive video. So all I did, and you can see I look quite a bit different in that video than I do now. It was 3 years ago that I recorded that video, and it was teaching people how to create a niche, how to pick a niche in their business, instead of just being a generalist, to be specific. And so I did this training, and I have a 3-step process to choose a profitable niche. And that video just has been on YouTube, and it's lived on YouTube, and it's trained a lot of people. And now I'm looking at it going, you know what? I can make this interactive. It's a passive video. It's a monologue, and I can actually make this interactive and have people interact with the content and choose their own experience with the content. So they could choose which of those 3 topics, which of those 3 steps they want to take first, which one is most important to them. So I took that video, and in 5 minutes, you'll see, I'll walk you through how I could take that passive video that I recorded 3 years ago and make it interactive today and actually have people experience this content instead of just sitting back and watching me monologue. Okay, so go ahead, Jim. You can go ahead and start it. So all I did was go to YouTube, and I captured, as you can see on the top bar, I captured the link that already exists on YouTube. And I went into Relatable, and I started the process. I clicked the green plus button. It asks me a few questions. Are you starting a new project? Is it a recorded video or already done? And what folder do I want to put it in? So I put it in my niche folder because I've done this before. And hit continue, paste the video link there, give it a title and description. And now I'm going to go set up my marketing palette, the actual colors that I want to be on the video. So I go ahead and import a palette. I'm going to use my Relatable palette. I've got a bunch of different marketing palettes in here. And I'm going to make each of these elements in the video comply with my marketing standards in my palette. The colors, the hex codes, and the font. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to go in and actually set up the pop-ups that Peter was talking about. So where is the video going to start? Well, it comes with a start button. So I'm just going to move the start button to where it is. It comes with an opt-in button so I can collect emails and names, but I'm going to turn that off because I'm not going to do that on this video. And then I'm going to go to where that first question exists in the video and move that question there and title it, you know, which of the 3 steps do you want to start with? And I'm going to go ahead and give each of the options. But before I can actually give all of the options, I have to show in the video where, if they click that option, that step 1, step 2, or step 3, where is the video going to skip to so that they could experience just that portion. And so that's what I do. Set up step 1, where do I start talking about that? Set up steps 2, where do I start talking about that? And then I'm going to set up step 3, as you can see, where do I start talking about that? And then once I give it a title, step 3, as you can see, then I'm going to go to, actually I do a follow-up or a recap. And so I name that one like a sum up, but you'll see I'm going to do, like Peter said, TLDR. If I don't want to go through the details of each of these 3 steps and I just want to hear the encapsulated, version, I can go to that section of this video. And now this is the CTA, the call to action. Once you're done with this video, where do I want to send you? Do you want to find out more? Do you want to buy the course? Do you want to set an appointment with me? What do you want to do once you've learned this information? And as you can see, I'm creating a button. I could use a button. I could use a branded image, but I'm just using a button that says sign up now. And I go to an external link to sign up, and there you go. And now, as you can see up in the left corner, that little section that's kind of blinking, that shows me all the interactive elements that I've got in this video. And I'm going to go back to the first question I asked, which step do you want to start with? And I'm going to add those 3 steps. You want to go to step 2 and send you directly to that chapter where I put up step 2 and step 3. And then I'm going to add the TLDR. And I go straight to that section. So people can choose any of those steps they want to take at their own pace and experience my content however they want. Now I'm going to add, and you'll see I'm going to add an option at the end of each of those chapters. So once they finish step 1, It's not just going to continue in the video because that would still be just a dialogue. Now I'm going to add an option for them to choose where they want to go next. Okay, so maybe I don't want to do step 2. Maybe I just want to go straight to TLDR. I don't need to hear all the details. Or maybe I want to go straight to step 3. How can they afford my services? That's what step 3 talks about. And so at the end of each of those sections, I'm going to give them an option to experience any one of the other steps in the order they choose. And this is why we call this a personalized experience. It's not just an adventure. My viewers can experience my content in whatever way they want. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm setting up that option, and you'll see here in a minute, once I set all these things up, I go and I test it all. I test all the links. I test to make sure I didn't miss something, and is something not connected right or anything like that. It's real quick. And so there's that one. And now I'm going to go up in the upper right corner. There's an eyeball, and now I'm going to view it, and it's going to show me what it looks like. So I'm not going to wait for the whole thing. All I do is move the scrubber, that little white scrubber, to the end of the first section. And there's my question. Which of the 3 steps? So I'm going to start with step 1, go through step 1 all the way to the end, and make sure that the options pop up with any of the other 3 options. There they are. What do I want to do next? Step 2. Great. Go to the end of step 2. What do I want to do next? Let's go to step 3. Same thing. Go to the end. What do I want to do now? Let's do TLDR. There we go. And at the end of that, now I have the option for the actual CTA. And the CTA will pop up. Sign up now. That's as simple. A video that I already had that existed, that was passive video for someone to just sit and watch. Just imagine this experience. How much more, not only are my viewers going to participate in this process, but how much more will they retain because they're actually interacting. We have that option of the kinesthetic process of training, right? Not just sitting and watching or listening. This is something I can do with a video that's already existing that I recorded 3 years ago. And I'm turning it into an interactive experience for anyone who wants to learn how to choose a profitable niche. And this video, I think total is, what was it? 15 minutes maybe at the most originally. And now it's also broken up into smaller chunks that people can then experience in bite-sized parts, because that's, again, our attention. What percentage do you think of the viewers are going to start that video and sit through the whole 15 minutes? Nowadays, that's very rare. So now I've also kept their attention, given them more opportunities to learn at a deeper level with the kinesthetic aspect of them actually participating in the video and moving and using the mouse or using their finger. And they get to do it in small chunks because our attention span is quite a bit lower with today's technology. So there you go.
And Mary, something too that I think is exciting about with creating these experiences, you created that, but you could decide, today, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, you know what? I want to change up the way this video is interacting without actually having to send out a new link.
That's right.
You can change your menus. You can change, maybe you want to add another chapter. You could even theoretically, well, not theoretically, you could replace the video with a different video.
That's right. Or let's just take this video by itself. Let's say there was a piece of that video that was 3 years ago that is dated, that really it doesn't apply today. Well, let's say that was step 2. Well, I can bypass step 2 completely. I don't have to re-record the whole video. I don't have to change all that out. I can just bypass step 2 completely. Don't even offer it as an option, but leave the video intact. So I can have people experience it. I can update content or remove content in any way I want with this exact same process. And I don't have to redo the whole thing. Like you said, Jim, I don't have to send out a new link. I can use the same QR code if I used a QR code, but I can update. And again, like Peter says, on the fly I could do all this on my phone with my phone, my face, and my finger. That's it. I don't have to have some fancy video editing software and cut that part out because it doesn't apply. You don't have to do any of that. If I wanted to start, let's say I wanted to start with step 1, or I wanted to start with step 3, I can move that start button wherever in the video I want. And it's really not only saving time, but it allows me to update my information. Again, 3 years ago, this video was recorded. I can change it in any way I want. And like you said, change the entire video. Let's say I do want to record a new video and say something new about niche selection. Well, I don't have that video, that link and QR code exists, and I can just put that new video into that same Relatable and redo the whole thing if I really want to, but I don't have to. I have that option to be as flexible as I want with my content. But there is something that was already recorded. That was my point in this. You can take content you have from whenever you've trained and make it interactive, or at least pieces of it interactive. Even take pieces and just make that part interactive. If you have an hour-long video and you want to take only one section and offer that as, let's say, a lead magnet or a free course, you don't need the whole hour-long video. You just need one section of it. You can make that a free course, and the rest of the video is hidden. No one sees it. No one knows it exists. You just send people directly to the part you want them to interact with. It's such a powerful tool that we have, and so flippin' easy. Like you saw, so easy. Just go to the section of the video, add a pop-up. It's the hardest part. I keep saying this to everybody I talk to in the partner program. The hardest part of this process is deciding what you're going to say in the video and recording the video. Everything else after that is very, very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Hey, Jim, can I add one thing to that? Mary, that was fantastic. I mean, I hadn't seen that before. That was really cool. One of the other things too, Mary, to build off of what you said, is like you could have like a YouTube video that's an hour long, and there may be one section, but you may have 3 or 4. So building off what Mary said is she could highlight that one section. She can clone the thing instantaneously, go to another section, only highlight that, clone the video, and the cloning is done instant. You clone it, it's there. So everything's already built. All the brand is already done. Everything Mary set up one time is already there. And then she just picks the section. So you know, if you want to go that way, you don't need these other tools like Opus or any of these other things that break out clips. Just bring the whole thing in and do your clips that you want, and then that's set up. And I'll tell you what, with these, you guys know, being out in your digital footprint, you're going to be in a lot of places with QR codes and with links, and you don't have to sit there and have a head scratcher going, man, where do I go to change these? You don't. You can change the whole video, change whatever you want on the fly. Those QR codes and links that live forever out there, you never have to worry about them because it's going to take them back to this new updated content.
And Peter, that is such a huge thing because I deal with a lot of, like I think about it with events, specifically when we're talking about QR codes, is these people put up these banners and they have this QR code on there, and well, now they got to go change the QR code out the next year because it's a new QR code. Yeah. Well, if you're using Relatable, now you don't have to, because even if you want to start out the video with, hey, welcome to, or glad you visited us at our table, here's the information, you could actually replace that video, but that QR code is still the same. That in itself is going to save people time and money. And I think that's what I find, exciting. We've even talked about using this on, paper products, whether it's flyers, whether it's book authors that have a hard copy book where you have interactive chapters, and you may get feedback from your people and you can change that interactive.
Yeah.
I mean, it blows my mind, but
let me talk about that real quick, Jim, because I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm in the process of writing a book. And in this book, it's using some of the podcast material that I have, my podcast interviews. And, information changes all the time. So if there was a visitor or a interviewee that came to my show that talked about a particular topic and that's outdated. In the book, I can actually put instead of having to update the book and do a version 2 or a version 3, I can just put a QR code in there saying, hey, here is where you can go for updates of this book. And every year, with new information as it arises, let's say you're writing an AI book, a book about AI. Every year, as new information arises, you can go here to this QR code and you will get all the updated information. It could lead you to a new printed book, right? It could lead you to a new PDF with any of the versions that are updated. It could lead you to videos or podcast interviews that update that information. You can do that for each chapter and say, here, go here for the updated information on this chapter. You can structure it in any way you want so that you don't have to go back and do a version 2, a version 3, a version 4. That book can live and be timely and timeless because you've created the process for people to interact with your content as it is updated.
And even with ebooks, right? If people are using Kindle or some of these things, as long as they're not on their phone, but even then you can still have a link.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't have to be a QR code. So I think that's extremely powerful.
Yeah. One thing too, just to add, I mean, we're talking about use cases, and Jim, I want you to jump in here next because you got some really good stories to tell. But I mean, Jim mentioned about like these events, right? Imagine, think about that. Not just the speaker have the QR code and everybody, because I've done this. I've had up to 1,000 people pull out their phone and go, boop, this is when we had open list. And then they entered our world. You can do that with Relatable. And now the speaker is on that each individual's phone in a personal way. But think about it this way. Imagine if you went to an event and in the event you get whatever you get in your swag bag. And now there's this set of speakers and each of those had a QR code. You scan it and the speaker pops up and goes, hey, nice to meet you. I'm going to be talking about this at the event today. And here's some key points you might want to consider to remember. And I hope you come to my keynote or my breakout. Now, think about that, right? After the keynote or the breakout, now there's banners out there and they scan the code to give feedback. Now there's interaction. What did you think of the talk? What did you learn? So now it's a dialogue, right? Events are no longer these monologue events. They're dialogue events, right? And by the way, while you're doing that, you have all these people opt in so that they can create the dialogue. And now the speaker or the event holder has got this huge, massive list of all these people, right? So that's, and the other thing too is even if they had their email before, that list is tied in with exactly what they said. And in our Relatable, if you want to, you can go and individually text, email, or WhatsApp them inside Relatable to say, hey, thank you for this feedback. This is how we're going to use this to improve next year. Right? So, I mean, these things just didn't exist before. And that's part of why I wanted to do Relatable, because I wanted to create these personal and relevant dialogue experiences, because that's, as humans, how we interact, how we develop relationships, right? And not only that, but if you're an event, you went to, was it Innovation 24, right? Think about it. If he had that, what was the guy's name?
Brian Wallace.
Yeah, Brian Wallace. Big shout out to him. Think about it. Brian had this. He could not only tie them, but he could also then, because he's got them on a list, he could find out what they liked, what they didn't like, what they might want for Innovation 25. And then as it gets closer, he can start saying, hey, I've got this speaker out here. If you're on your phone, tap on the link. If you're not, just scan the code. You get a personal message from the speaker that's coming up. I mean, think about that, right? You build the excitement, build the pull of the event, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, Peter. I mean, you talk about the whole experience thing. This is definitely changing the way of experiences. And I think, I guess maybe it's a good time for me to kind of get into this a little bit because you talked about it. So how have I been using it lately? One, in email, because, people always talk about email. It's like, well, I wanted to do things a little different. I said, I'm going to create a relatable interactive video and put it into, and I use ConvertKit. So I sent out an email to my list, which I hadn't sent to in a while. I got a 55% open rate. And out of those 55%, I got an 18% click through on the video. And it's led to multiple meetings, a couple of interviews on podcasts, people that want to learn more about Relatable and how they can use it. And it really wasn't that hard for me to do it, and the other way I've been using it, I just had a meeting with Chris Kremitzos from Podfest. I knew Chris was flying in. He wasn't going to have a lot of time to talk with me. So, I love how you say, face, finger and phone. I got on my phone. I recorded a quick video. I had already built, images. And so I gave Chris some examples. I said, here's how you can use Relatable to promote your podcast. Here's, the features and benefits of Relatable, and also telling him, like, hey, you can get on my calendar and we can talk more about how you could use this to promote Podfest. And so I texted it to him, right? Because I have that relationship with him, and he was able to text me back, and he's like, hey, I definitely want to talk more about this because this is innovative. And I think, I know, Peter, you're doing it with DMs, so, because I've had some people say, oh, well, I used to use, there's these programs that when someone, adds to your list, it's kind of like they get this, I almost called it it's a passive video in the sense that, sure, it's a video like, hey, thanks for joining my list, but it's not that same thing of where, like, hey, Peter, I saw you join my list. I wanted to get to learn more about you. How about or you can even text me right now, right? You can email me right now, and you're going to get a response from me. I think that's the difference. That's a huge difference. And you can do that in your LinkedIn DMs. You can do that in Facebook, like you said, WhatsApp. I mean, and I'm sure there's going to be more stuff coming. This even works for people that may not be aware of this on Threads. You can take that Relatable link and put it into Threads, and you can start to have interaction through that, because, Instagram and, some of these others have their challenges. But if you can get into someone's, messaging, you can definitely connect with them.
Yeah. And to add to that, a couple things. Number one, we've talked about, and you guys, and I highly encourage you to go to our previous shows to really understand why we take a position on the attention economy and lead gen is dying. It is now about the relationship economy and demand gen. But I understand, because look, we're all in the same boat here. It's like, you can't just go, well, let's just flip the switch and we'll see what happens, because that could be a revenue disaster for your business. But you see, this example that Jim just talked about is, we have an email list. We have a website. You can embed these up on your website. You don't have to change assets. If you have an email list, you heard what Jim got for results. You can still do your email marketing campaigns, but you're embedding the relatables in there. So we say email is no longer email. And I would like you to test it, see what you get. I mean, you know what you're getting now. Industry averages are 20% open rate and 1% click-through rate. See if you can do better. See if you can do better with what you're doing right now, even if you're a fantastic copywriter. Because, I've always said, and I will still say this, with my background in neuroscience, in email, you can persuade, you can create emotion, but you cannot build a relationship with the text email. You just can't do it. With relatables, because it is not a monologue like that, it's a dialogue, you can build that relationship, okay? Now, going back to what Jim was saying, so here's the thing, guys. I was sitting there and I was scratching my head because, we decided we're going to have a presence on LinkedIn. And the reason why is because this is where all the B2B people are. Relatables are primarily for B2B. So I thought, okay, I do know, and I've been, working this, and I've been growing my audience, and it's starting to really ramp up and get momentum. And I do post 5 days a week. I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's what I do. And I express unique point of view and change of perspective. And we attract our tribe, which has got me to really start thinking, like, why do I need an ideal customer profile and buyer persona if I'm attracting my tribe with my unique point of view? And it's working. And a lot of people are going over to hang out with Mary in the partner program and build things with Relatable. But the one thing, it was like, I got to find a way. Guys, here's the thing. We all know as human beings, if we come from the heart, if we come from being genuine, being authentic, being transparent, stop the hooks, stop the sales gimmicks, stop the, I'm going to try to manipulate you into a sale. Just be you, right? I always say reconnect to your relatability. So I'm sitting there and thinking, going, okay, well, I've got this tool. I live by eating my own dog food. So how could I use it in a strategy with LinkedIn that would possibly get more people on to set appointments? Because here's what happens, and it's happening for the three of us. When we get on an appointment with you, once you see what Relatable can do, that's why I always send a lot of them over to Mary, because she does such a great job. You're gonna be like this and go, okay, how do I be involved, right? Because, and again, I tell people all the time when I do my posts, we're not for everybody. We may not be for you. We're for early adopters and innovators. That's 17% of the population who see the vision and want first mover opportunity. If that's you, you probably should give us, contact Mary, Jim, or I. But so I'm looking at this going, okay, well, I started commenting in LinkedIn, and I commented, I found, in our book, the Be Relatable book, which by the way, you can get a free copy of it. I talk about your Dream 100. Now that actually came from Russell Brunson, who's doing funnels, which I don't like funnels, but that was a good idea. So I went over there and I started looking for all the people that I wanted to connect to, right? And then I started following them. And then if you go to LinkedIn, you go to the bell and you turn on all, so you can get, get their notifications in your feed. Now, look, guys, just like you, I can't sit on LinkedIn all day. I've got dev teams. I'm working with Mary. I'm working with Jim. I'm dealing with my own content. We're also working on future stuff in our lab. So there's all kinds of things that are pulling me in different directions. I'm no different than you. So, but what I do is I say my goal every day is I'm going to pick 6 people and I'm going to comment on their posts. Okay. And so I target, that's my strategy, and I comment. But here's the thing. I just wrote a post on this. Don't do the one-liner comments. One-liner comments are like radio and TV ads. It's quantity over quality. That never ends well, right? What you want to do is you do a comment. That's why I only do 6. If it takes you this much to write, then write that much. Express your unique point of view, whether you agree or disagree with that person. If you disagree, be polite, obviously. But whether you disagree or agree, write in there. And then that person's going to see it, and most every single time, they're going to comment back, right? So now you're starting to at least engage with that person. And the other thing too here is other people, if you're doing a comment that gets people to think, you're going to get a lot of likes and hearts and things like that. So I click on that and I connect with those people because obviously they saw my comment and there's something in there that I wrote where they're going, oh, wow, that resonates with me, right? So then maybe I'll look at their stuff and I'll comment on their stuff. But the people that I'm targeting on my Dream 100, I'm commenting. Now, here's what I did. So I tested this out and I'm sold. I'm doing it for good. So now after I comment and they comment or they come over and comment on my stuff, which also shows a sign that they're possibly interested, it takes me about 4 to 5 minutes. I'll just pop Relatable on. I will put its bullet points where you speak off the top of your head. And all I do is this. I go, hey, Jim, I just really want to tell you, I really enjoy your posts you're doing. And, I see you commented on my comments and I appreciate that. I see you come over and sometimes comment on my posts. Thank you for doing that. It means a lot to me. We're talking about, Relatable. It's a new category of software. It's interactive video relationships. This is what it can do. It can create dialogues where passive videos just can't do that. So I do a very soft pitch. I just let them know, here's what, I thank them for what they're doing and I let them know what we're all about, which they typically already know. And this is here's the close. I just go, hey, you know what? If you want to learn more about this, obviously you're intrigued because you commented on some of my stuff. There's going to be a calendar button that's going to pop up and you can go ahead and you can get on my calendar and we can talk for 30 minutes. Just have a video chat and get to know each other. If not, just go ahead and go up to the bell, click all, and you'll keep following my stuff. I really appreciate it. Either way, I'm glad to be able to know you and get to know you on LinkedIn. Now, simple 1 to 1.5 minute video. What's happening is I'm getting an 80% set appointment rate with that. And I started thinking like, how is that even possible? Why does that happen? Well, why I think it happens is because, first of all, I have shown quality, unique point of view, getting them to think. where they're resonating with what I'm talking about. Then I come in with this highly genuine, authentic, and personal video. Doesn't have to be long. I can knock these out in 4 or 5 minutes. I'll usually do, in a week, I'll probably do 5 or 6 of those key people that I really want to have on my appointment calendar. And because I'm just coming in and I'm being transparent and I'm being genuine and authentic, and they're seeing me, it's not just text or an image, or maybe they saw me in another Relatable. It's me actually speaking to them. I tell you guys, look, you're all human beings too. If you had someone that came in and talked and had that personal dialogue with you, and again, dialogue, this is just one interaction. All I'm asking is tap. It's inexperienced, tap, set the appointment. But that's what's getting the 80% response rate. And I'll tell you what, if all you did was use Relatable and you had the bottom end package for $49 and you send these out and you got appointments like that, I mean, think about that. The return on investment. I mean, I'm talking to financial planners, which now Mary's starting to work with. I don't know what you guys do, but look, financial planners, if they get one client a year, they usually go to the grave with them and talk to their kids and their grandkids. So one appointment from a $500 investment a year is going to pay off probably 2,000 times over, right? For what they do. Now, you may not have as high of ROI, but whatever you're doing, again, going back to that personalized relationship, it cuts through the noise, it cuts through the attention economy, and it gets us back to having dialogues and having relationships and being with people. And that really is a powerful, powerful thing. And I think that's why I'm getting 80%, set appointment rate.
That's powerful.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I mean, what better way to bring this all the way back full circle from what you started talking about with which was passive versus interactive and monologue versus dialogue to the relationship dialogue. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep. So Peter, we're running out of time. It's almost been an hour. This has been amazing show, a great demonstration, MKJ, of how to take passive video and turn it into interactive video without having to go and reinvent the wheel. So any final thoughts, Peter?
The only thing I can leave with you guys is really, if you think about the priority of what you're trying to do with your business and your marketing, number one, you want to share your different. You want to make an impact. And I always tell these guys, look, if we're going to do anything, it's got to have a possibility of creating a movement. Because if we're just developing I tell you what, if I just developed a better mousetrap, Mary and Jim wouldn't be here. I guarantee it. They'd be like, yeah, whatever. This is, it's something that we're trying to change, create this movement. And what that movement means to you personally is this. It's about rediscovering your relatability, about connecting with people. We have acronyms, digital to human, human to human. But at the end of the day, it's just about being with other people and creating that dialogue, not the monologue. You're going to see a lot of people up there that, they talk about how great video is and I can do that and I can do this. And it's all passive video. They're talking at you. Okay. And so it's time you kind of rethink about what you're doing and going, how can I really connect, but do it at scale with people to create these dialogues, to create these relationships so that when people come in, they have the familiarity. They know what I stand for. They know they've dialogued with me. I can look at how they've answered questions and interacted. So I kind of know where the direction is that they want to go. Because here's the thing. Everybody, when, I talk about this, right? People do not want to be sold. People want to buy. People want to go on their own experience to get to that point of buying. That's the whole point of the relationship economy and demand gen. So you have to, all we did in Relatable is we said, you know what? We're going to get back to what it means to being a human being, and we're going to match the behavior of what people go through when they want to buy, but also what would they want to have after they were a customer to turn them into a raving fan? And so Relatable can do all those things with your existing customers as well. So guys, if you truly want to be a human being and you truly want to live in the relationship economy and you want to create a predictable stream of potential clients or customers, it's time to really rethink and be relatable.
Yep. Well, Peter, this has been great. I don't know if the interwebs decided to take Mary away, so but
It was the Attention Economy Police. They did it.
That's right. That's right. But we'll see you all next time on, and get relatable with us. And don't forget, we got a new podcast coming out soon, so be staying tuned for that as well.
And one last thing, that QR code, if you're on desktop, just scan the code. There's also the link home.relatable.pro. That'll take you to our website. You can learn more there. If you want to jump on a free trial, great. If you want to talk to Mary and get on the partner program, good too. However you want to do it.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Jim.